6 that aligns with your purpose. And now, whether you're feeling burned out, stretched too thin, or simply craving more clarity and intention in your business, today's session is designed to help you pause, reflect, and begin shaping a more sustainable path forward. And my name is David Beta. I'm manager of client services here at Business Link. And if this is your first time joining a Business Link session, welcome. And Business Link, we are a government-funded nonprofit that helps small businesses in Alberta to start, grow, and thrive. We offer free one-on-one business support, market research, training, and resources for entrepreneurs at any business stage. And I'm thrilled to introduce today's speaker, Trena Laine. And Trena is a beauty industry leader, educator, and coach dedicated to helping entrepreneurs and creatives help build sustainable, purpose-driven careers. With more than 2 decades of entrepreneurial experience, she supports business owners in moving beyond burnout and hustle culture by creating systems, boundaries, and businesses that support the life that they want to live. Trena combines deep industry expertise with a passion for personal growth, and we're grateful to have us here today. And Trena, thank you so much for joining, and I'll pass things over to you.
Amazing. Thank you, David, for that warm welcome. I really appreciate it. Great to be here. Happy Thursday. Happy December. Happy holidays to everyone who is jumping on. It's great to see everybody here. I am really excited to share, but I'm also going to kind of come with a little bit of a spin here. My journey over the last 21 months, following my husband's passing, created a little bit of a shift when I start to talk about sustainability and how we can feel a little bit more nourished and yummy when it comes to our careers. I was already speaking about mental health. I was speaking about like toxic productivity. I was speaking about hustle culture all before Aaron had passed away. And this journey since his passing has taken me into rooms such as this, where I'm able to kind of share and connect. So good news is this is more of a conversation. And I also encourage those who are here, get a notebook, get a pen, take some notes, apply yourself. We're here to actually talk about you. So I'm not going to bore you with a presentation and a bunch of slides. Linda from Business Link was like, "Do you have slides?" I was like, "No, not for this one." I feel like it is December. Everyone has a very soft spot. We're excited, but it's also kind of like what I call the blue month, right? Like winter can kind of be a little hard. And we're all anticipating Christmas being pulled in so many different directions. This is an opportunity for us just to all spend time together as entrepreneurs, as maybe solopreneurs, as those running businesses and teams. And we're just going to come together and have great conversation. So during our time together too, I also encourage you to drop some comments in the chat. Let's make this interactive as much as possible. David and I were having a discussion. Any larger questions you have, we'll put those towards the end and make sure we allocate some time towards that as well. So welcome everyone here. I am Trena Laine, as David has mentioned, and we're just going to take the next little bit of time to spend some time. But what I like to do before we kind of roll into it, get rid of some distractions, right? And if you want to join me in just kind of like setting the intention, setting yourself, because as I said, we're here to talk about you. When's the last time you talked about you? If you'd like, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in. And you could do the fire exhale. That one's kind of like my morning go-to because I'm an early riser, so I feel like it's pretty dark, so I need to be like energized. But beyond the noise, let's talk about you. Let's talk about designing a 2026 that aligns with your purpose. And most of the time when I'm here to talk about, you and our careers, it's always getting back to this place of like, what is the why? What is the heartbeat that keeps you wanting to keep going? What is the dream that hugs? What are the things you think about the most? What is always on your brain and your heart at any given time? So we can call today's session to a heart checkup and designing something that fuels us first. I'm a huge fan, me first, then my career. If this resonates, drop it down. Let's have a soft chat here. Because we're often told to hustle harder. And these are some of the things I want to address. But at what cost? You know, I think about these last 21 months and following Aaron's passing, as sad as it was, I also took that as an opportunity and maybe some lessons and like, what else could this also mean to me? I removed a lot of things that no longer applied. And then I got excited actually about certain things where I'm kind of over here doing something that feels yummy to me. And I think there's moments in our careers where we know things are going to shift. Sometimes life throws us something that we're not even going to like sometimes really fully understand. But once we kind of create something, we create these conversations, things that are not taboo when we start talking about what is actual grief as well. We've all experienced grief. It doesn't have to be packaged up in death. It could be from our careers, it could be loss in relationships, it could also be grief within ourselves. That also helps too. But I want to kind of pull out a few nuggets, create a sustainable career that fuels your success and your well-being. We seem to shoulder all the things. Am I right? I want to hear from you guys, right? We're wearing all the hats, we're building the teams, we're hiring others. Sometimes we're hiring the wrong people. We're creating something that feels good, but then all of a sudden it's exploding, right? And I also say this, sustainability is not always putting value just in the things that we are doing. Feel free to write that down. Give yourself some grace today. It's not just about always constantly doing and pushing. It can't all be about work, work, work. We need rest. We need play. We need to honor our well-being. We need to create better alignment with what is priority. Who is feeling this, right? I also feel like we live in a time where we don't even like celebrate and marinate in our achievements. I actually threw this up on my Instagram earlier this week. We don't marinate in our achievements, our milestones. We don't pause to enjoy and just celebrate. For the longest time, and even my career, I would always be kind of like looking over my shoulder or looking forward, being like, what is next? Like keep forging ahead. And I think we also need to get back to some old school stuff where we just allow ourselves to marinate. I published a book short, maybe just over a year after Aaron had passed. And a lot of these things I talk about are also in that book, but plus more. But everyone was like, what's next after the book? And I was like, actually, this is my opportunity just to marinate in this. It took a lot for me to get here. I just didn't write a book. Attached to it is also my husband's passing, right? So I think it's time to stop looking over our shoulders and keep always thinking, what's next? What's next? What's next? Maybe instead of grinding it harder, allow yourself to pause, rest, take a break, celebrate how far you've come. I'm a fan of like read my own press clippings, and just be like, this felt great. Scheduling you time, scheduling where there's rest and no attachments to work-related activities. I want to see it in the chat here. Who actually unplugs and takes a day off? Like a digital detox, like no more. I can't even. Like that's me once a week. I'm like, no, not available. Can't even, right? We learn to say no, or maybe not now. Boundaries. Everyone's like kind of confused as to like what boundaries can mean. And to me, boundaries is more about, understanding what it is that I need and holding myself accountable. It's not necessarily telling someone this is what it is, but we need to be better communicators at sharing and explaining, maybe not right now or no. And in that way, we can navigate where am I in this season at this time in my life. And right, David, great question. Like, who takes days off? That was always kind of a thing. I'd say 24/7, 9 days a week. That also, unfortunately, was my husband, thinking he still hadn't done a lot. He still had to do more. And it was just this constant, like, hamster in a wheel. We need to honor ourselves. Maybe we need to look and have a discussion on building systems that help take the workload off. Stop doing all the things. Hire the right people. This takes time and being patient. Because again, I feel like we're always trying to rush to get to the next thing, but maybe what we need is just a little more patience with what we have is probably already good enough, and we need to honor that. Perhaps really understanding our client's journey, right? Like get back to a place where everything you're setting up, using the tech and tools accordingly and understanding what is it that their journey is. So this also creates ease for us. There's lots to discover here, but at the end of the day, It takes a lot to really understand how to fine tune and support ourselves and or our team. And I'm seeing a few people saying that in Ninja too. They're like a digital detox, right? Not caving to answer. Amen. Like just say, no, not today. That was me yesterday. I was like, I just couldn't even. I put on my auto reply. I was like, I can't even. Today is a day, right? And I take a day off once every 2 weeks. That's what Johnson just said us in here. I like that. Yeah, you have to. It recharges you, right? Makes you feel great. And it's dedicating time to you. You're pouring your own cup first. So this way you can what? Take care of the world, take care of your careers, take care of the people. Some things to kind of maybe even consider, as we're rolling into January, winter brings this opportunity to what I call a slow burn. Slow burn it. Maybe again, we're not in this place of needing to hustle and do more. Ask yourself how you're feeling each season. When I host actual like hands-on workshops with other entrepreneurs, sometimes it's just getting back to some basics. What actually is working. Don't change it, but why add more to the plate if you're not quite ready yet? We have answers that are within ourselves, but yet sometimes we're always pulled to everyone else, everyone's unsolicited opinions, everyone's thoughts, everyone's blah, blah, blah. Whatever you want to say, we all know we've been there. But I'm going to say this, and let's talk about burnout. Burnout, I know personally and professionally. We live in a society that dictates work over pleasure and well-being. Sometimes there's this fear instilled thinking that if I was to actually say, hey, I don't feel well today, that's a sign of weakness. It is not. I'm going to tell you right now, you need to give yourself permission to actually recognize if you're having an off day. Maybe at times we're showing up 10% versus 100%. That's still okay too. I think at times we need to kind of like obviously get better at communicating, establishing these boundaries and help us prevent burnout. A lot of people sometimes don't really actually fully understand burnout. I've been through it, and then unfortunately, I watched my late husband go through it, and then his heart was done, and he passed away in his sleep. And it was such a shock. But for 2 years, I watched him just go at it. As I said, that hamster in a wheel. Burnout is not just being exhausted and you can't just get out of bed. It's actually quite opposite. And maybe some of you know what this is, right? Here we go. Ready? It's insomnia. It's feeling like you can't breathe. There's a detachment. You become cynical. These were some things I was seeing in Aaron. You're distracted. We're forgetting. We're anxious. We're also numb. You know what I'm talking about? Like you just, all of a sudden, you just don't even feel like you feel anything anymore, right? That's also two-part of detachment. But we don't share those things. And sometimes when you're in it, you're in it. And this is where it becomes like a dangerous game, And then even then too, we're showing up. We're just putting on our game faces. We're sweeping stuff under the rug. And we're just kind of thinking, if I still continue to show up more, if I put in longer hours, if I can just get ahead of the heavy workload for tomorrow. It's not the answer, you guys. We need to get back to some like basic stuff. Being a human. We're not machines. We're not designed to be constantly on the go, 24/7, 9 days a week, as I've called it. This starts to also trickle into our homes, right? Our families are feeling it. Our friends are maybe feeling it. Once in a while, my mother might text. This was before being like, I'm thinking of you. Are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, it's just been busy because I just was numb and I felt detached. I couldn't even like focus and have proper conversations. I just didn't even understand what was going on with me. But I would continue to show up every day and not deal with the things. I said this to someone the other day. It took a pandemic to actually stop me. I was way past capacity. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. Our capacity, at some point, we're like, ah, screaming on the inside, but we still don't know what we're doing. It took a pandemic to force me to stop. And I'm not saying pandemic was a good time, right? We all have a journey within that time frame, which to me actually still doesn't even feel like it's going to be 6 years ago. Isn't that crazy, David? 6 years ago was the pandemic. Just because I can see you. So I said,
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a long time ago, and kind of reflecting on the pandemic, I guess, and kind of how that maybe greater insight in yourself.
Mhm.
Um, would you say kind of people are able to recognize burnout, or do they need someone to kind of nudge them or let them know, right? Like, are people able to kind of recognize it within themselves, or is it usually someone maybe noticing patterns and behaviors and they bring it to their attention?
This is what I've noticed, and this is just my personal observation, not being a therapist. But what I've been noticing is that it's taking, unfortunately, something or someone around them to break for them to actually recognize, oh, I can't keep going like this. And that's what I also find very, I'll just say the word interesting. There was things and patterns I saw in Aaron where I was like, oh, I've been there. I know how he's feeling. But again, this is still a conversation too, where a lot of men are like, oh, you should talk to my wife because it took me having a heart attack. It took me being in the hospital. It took me doing all these things, right? Or as women, we kind of come from a different emotional capacity and hormones and everything just starts to add up. So I feel like at some point, people are starting to kind of recognize, wait, I've been here before. That doesn't feel comfortable, but we're still scared to share how we feel. We're still scared to kind of reach out. We're still scared to think that this is a sign of weakness, and it's not. We need to get better at communicating, as I was just saying earlier, as I said, like society still dictates that you continue to show up. But even today, I sent an email out saying, can you manage this for me? I need less emails today. I have a busy day. Plus, I also actually just had a friend pass away the other day, someone I grew up with. And so it was just like this catapult of grief yesterday that was just like, oh my God. I'm like, I can only manage so much. Burnout, as I said, if there's any patterns, and usually the very first thing is when someone actually is feeling cynical, is probably the first thing. The cynicism just starts to build up, and everything we're talking about is also very negative. We don't seem to have a lot of spark or joy. So if this is resonate with any of you, reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, reach out to your team, reach out to the people you work with, because I think we're in a place now, especially as we're ending 2025. Most people are also looking for more hope as we come into 2026. And this is something we need to also just kind of like actually recognize and move forward together as a society. Before we all jumped on, like Linda and I had that conversation, these conversations shouldn't be taboo. We should be open to speaking about certain things, and I'm also going to share a couple things in here too, because I feel like this will probably resonate, and drop a couple thoughts into the chat here, you guys. I have shared we have blurred lines in our roles at home, if you're married or in a relationship, with women working also too way more, like, yay, go queens, right? We're building empires too, all of us. But women are still doing so much more and still not making much as a man. This is true. A recent poll came in, and I want to make sure I'm looking over here because I want to quote it properly. A recent poll came in that women make 80 cents on the dollar still today. And that's not even covering the surface. So burnout doesn't look the same for everyone. It's shaped by gender, race, culture, ability, and identity, right? True inclusivity means recognizing too, altogether, that people from all backgrounds face different challenges in the workplace and in life. This is where we are here today. And when we talk about, even I talk about hustle culture, we need to widen this lens. It's not just about working hard. Gone are those days. Even too, when someone says work smart, I'm like, yeah, but what does that actually mean to the next person, right? Like, there's got to be a different actual type of strategy here. It's not just about working harder or smarter. It's about who is expected to work harder for less and with fewer supports. We need better support. Leaders need better support. We need to create teams and bring people together that actually understand, okay, this is what we're going to do together. But if someone is going through something, we need to all honor that together. Don't let someone struggle. So this is that soft spot that I'm talking about. We probably have someone close to us. Maybe it is you that's part of this conversation today. We're constantly feeling pressured to do more. Everyone feeling that right now? Produce more. And I'm all for ambition and motivation and making that money, trust me. But at the same time, you're not the weakest link in the company or in your business, and you need to actually acknowledge to yourself, this is how I feel. And it can't just be like sweep it under the rug and be like, okay, I'm present when actually you're starting to fall apart. Please do not wait till something breaks. Conversations around these topics shouldn't be taboo. But as we're all coming into the holiday season, I would like to actually see, give me like a thumbs up, drop it in the chat, whatever you want to do. Who has ever crawled into January feeling a little wrung out, right? Kind of resentful, disconnected, but joyful. But yet we've kind of lost the shiny lights from Christmas, right? Like it's kind of a very interesting thing. And I mean, I don't think we're always supposed to be in full sunshine. I mean, that's why we have sun and rain and like all these things, right? Right? Some of you are kind of like saying some comments here. I think we need to change how we actually kind of move into each season. So that way we're kind of rolling in a place that allows us proper rest, proper connection with ourselves, not always being attached to doing, right? Camilla, yeah. Why do we keep needing to do more? Exactly. So we're going to talk about your survival strategy guide. We're just gonna do it, okay? And again, this doesn't have to be so dark and dreary. You know, we're all going through something. And this is my second holiday season without my husband. And I'm like, a part of me is like, gosh, is this still heavy as it was last year? Like, I don't even know. But you know what? That's okay. I'm okay to feel all the things that I need to feel. But here's our survival strategy guide. If you got that pen, I'm going to give you a couple little things here. There is no amount of money, bookings, or grateful clients that can compensate for a business that runs on self-sacrifice. So here's my question to you. Where are you taking time off? There's long hours. We have rushed timelines. You know, the clients who just thought, want one more thing. Where's your capacity? The early mornings, the back-to-back bookings, you know, I'm like, we need to think about some better systems that relieve ourselves. That also helps because if you're in a business like I am, where the tangibility is obviously working with other humans, that's how you make your money. Here's having that realistic conversation. So creating some behavioral shifts is what I would call it. Is this resonating with anybody? You know,
Yeah, I
putting,
think we have a comment from Camilla in the chat.
yeah, is busy not, yeah, falls down to empowering your team. Mm-hmm. I'm liking it. How about looking at your schedule as more boundary based? When I sit down on a one-on-one or in a group setting, this is my question to a lot of entrepreneurs. Where are you in your schedule? We got clients, we got administration, we got this, we got that, right? We got doing all these things. Don't wait for a vacation. Where in the day, where in the week are you? This is an honest conversation with yourself. Where am I? Boundary based. What fuels your fire? How do you start your mornings? Are you a morning person? Are you an afternoon person? Are you the night owl? It's just getting back to kind of like what works for me and then build that around there. Easier said than done because we've been so programmed for so long, probably been doing what we've been doing for so long that maybe it's just a little hard to kind of grasp. So think about a boundary-based schedule. Where are you in all of this? And getting some systems in place. Getting some systems in place.
That's kind of like working in or on your business. Well, related to that anyway. Um, so are you working in your business, doing everything you need to be doing, or on it to kind of
Mm-hmm.
build those systems to help alleviate maybe some of that pressure?
I agree. And that was me too, like following Aaron's passing. Not that I was still doing all the things, but I realized I need help. I got to hire the right people. I got to make this work because now also too, I'm a single person, right? Like I was used to being part of a team for the last 21 years. So it was also now like, okay, I got to get my foundation in place. How is this going to look? What's going to support me? And if you're in the business too, like I am, if it does require other humans or you need your limbs to work, do we have a backup plan? Like worst case scenario, like it's about thinking about these things instead of just always just constantly moving forward, thinking, okay, I got to keep doing these things. Maybe what we're doing has been good enough. I'll repeat that. Where you are today where you've been, what you've done. Maybe it's good enough today. And maybe it's just about doing a tidy, doing a little cleanup to support you moving forward. I'm liking this. Schedule my vacation, schedule my lunch. I love this. Yep. And it's good. It's good to have a team. And yes, say no, do not interrupt me. Amen. Very, very crucial. Communication, right? This is the time to kind of like think about your calendar. How about this one too? Let's stop allowing last minute requests that hijack our day. I've had a few things over the last 2 months where I'm like, why is this person hijacking this? Or like, what's this? I'm like, you're taking the fun out of what we're supposed to be doing. Right? And it's just opening up that communication to say, what's going on? How can I help you? But at the same time, this is also my boundaries. Like it's just having these honest conversations, right? There's people who are going to break your flow, delay the schedule, throw off your energy. You know, the worst thing that we want to be doing is feeling irritation, right? So there's certain things you can kind of start to work on. And I usually kind of lightly joke. I'm like, this is where maybe like something like AI, ChatGPT can come in handy, but come up with some just like some wording and some scripts to help you communicate properly with what your needs are. You understand where they're coming from, but also this is also where you're at as well. Like it's like there's been things where people have been reaching out last minute. And I'm like, I see what you're saying and I can appreciate it. But at the same time, next time with more notice, I could actually do a little bit more better for you. And that's just being a human being, being honest, right? Not being like, oh yeah, well, I'll just tack that onto the schedule. Don't have an endless list that we can never just get to. How about having some guidelines to reduce emotional load? I'm liking this, Cheyenne. Yeah, definitely a lesson I've been learning. Lost some potential clients. Some reason to reply. Meh, they probably weren't meant for you anyways. Vice versa. Right? That's even too with my whole marketing plan, Cheyenne. This was like something I said to my marketing team. I'm like, I don't need all the clients. I want to streamline our marketing. So it's like, these are the people I can work with. I don't need everybody. I just need these people. Right. And that also too, that comes into this next part. It helps reduce emotional load. You know, I'm a fan of when we're creating systems in the client journey is keeping that ease and keeping things so kindergarten level, so simple for them that it helps you out as well. So as an example, a lot of my clients are more beauty and wellness entrepreneurs. And I'm always a fan of how simple is it for them to find you, book, if they need to have a conversation, are you taking payments, like, right? Like just simple kindergarten stuff. Because sometimes we're so like all over the place. And I'm like, let's just bring it into here. This way, they understand your expectations. Have proper terms and policies in place. I don't know how everyone's working right now, but if we have things more in writing and kind of funnel everything into email, that helps too. Because I don't know about the rest of you. There's DMs, there's texts, there's all these things. And I'm like, can we just bring it back to email? Having these expectations, and it keeps you sane as well. Okay. Stop squeezing in extra errands too. Between all the things. I talked about this capacity. Has anyone been feeling that pull for the last little bit? Capacity and capability are not the same thing. You're capable of, well, have our talents and skills, but there's the capacity side. How is your nervous system doing? And this goes back to kind of a few things I was talking about before, protecting your calendar, right? Honoring your boundaries, honoring what you need. You build you first, then the schedule. Where are you in that schedule? Okay. Your emotional capacity is going to determine how you experience your day. So here's my question to you. And maybe just this isn't pointing fault or judgment towards yourself. It's more just having that honest, truthful conversation, being like, how do I actually start my day? Right? Upon waking, upon getting out of bed, what is nourishing to me first? I might maybe look at the weather. What I am not doing, not that I even need to look at a weather app, you can just look at the window. It's just habit, right? But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not running into an email right away. I'm not getting back to somebody. I need breakfast. I need coffee. I need movement. And then I'm ready for everybody. I'm just throwing that out there. How do you end the day? Even if it wasn't like a monumental day, there was heartbreak, there was turmoil, maybe there was things to celebrate. Are we like acknowledging how that day went, whether small or monumental? You follow me? Controlling. You're in control of your own being and how you want to respond and move forward, not always be, as I said, like kind of reacting to things. You're allowed to shape this holiday season and come into 2026 as to how you see fit. Some people are going to give you some unsolicited opinions and advice. You probably have a lot of things coming at you, even probably coming to these things, right? It's like we get so overwhelmed consuming, but at some point we just need to sit down, be with ourselves, and create. At some point, stop consuming so much and maybe start to create, start to apply, start to kind of shift. It's not maybe creating 10 new habits, maybe it's just one. What can I do for myself that encourages my business, my career to kind of, nudge that needle to go in that different direction? Yes, Camilla, how you respond to others. I'm loving this. I'm just double checking a few things on here on my list. Treat rest as a business metric, not a luxury. Here we go, Valerie. Yeah, I start my day with 10 to 30 minutes of yoga. Yeah, depending, right? I love all of this. It's me too. I always throw in some affirmations that gently play in the background. Some days I'm pretty amped up and motivated. The next day, maybe I'm not saying anything, and it's still, nurturing me. Journaling, writing. That was one of my biggest therapies. I'm good when I write. I'm good when I have these conversations, but treating our rest as a business metric and not a luxury. Stop taking advantage of the things that you have control over as much as possible. And it starts with ourselves. Rest is crucial. It's personal responsibility. Rest is just as productive as having a heavy hitting income day. It's all part of it. And we need to get back to like not being so attached to so many things and just actually being, again, asking ourselves, what do I need? Rest improves our intention. It's emotional regulation. It's physical performance. It's decision making. For me, it's creativity. Like following Aaron's passing, everything just went. I was like, we got to talk about this stuff. I didn't realize how much I was holding in because I've gone through some stuff and then I was watching him and then his passing created a catalyst. And I was like, enough. But don't wait until something breaks or you have to say enough. Maybe today's the day where it's just gentle enough to be like, enough. Because life is pretty short.
Trina, would you treat rest breaks like a coffee break, or is it something
Yeah,
kind of
I
different?
do. Like throughout the day, I'll share actually kind of what I
Yeah,
do. So before I jumped on to do a test run, before we started this webinar,
yeah.
I was just like sitting with myself doing breath work. Maybe 15 minutes before that, I was doing some push-ups. Like it's just, I do micro stuff throughout the day. Like for me, I don't do good when I have to know that I have to schedule an hour for working out. I would rather squeeze in a 10-minute walk, 10-minute push-ups. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm kind of a micro kind of person and I roll with it. I do better when it's not so heavy structured that it actually hurts my brain or causes further anxiety. Also, scheduling things like for me, somewhere between Friday night to Sunday, my phone's off, like unplugged, can't even. And then I like hiking, and there's other creativity things that I like to do as well. But even just looking at the week, my heaviest work days sometimes fall between Tuesdays to Thursdays. I like my Mondays just to be kind of a slower, gentler, let's ease into the work week. I'm not a big fan of too many meetings. Find how you want to work, right? Mornings are more productive. By the afternoons, there's probably a dip. That's just me. So everyone's like a little bit different. And right now, December, it's hard to work at 7 p.m. because it's been dark since 3, Like, so there's a few things where you're like, what is it that I need? And you guys, I think rest should just be part of the day. Like when I eat, just eat. I don't have my phone with me. Just do one task at a time and just sit with yourself. That's really actually a hard thing for a lot of people. I felt like I didn't actually really fully have the advantage just to have stillness and be able to sit with myself. Unfortunately, it was following Aaron's passing, but I also couldn't like watch TV or do like other things. Like my whole body was just like, and I need to be with myself. And there's something about stillness that just actually helps with, recovery. Maybe there's some things you're just kind of still holding on to from years ago, from last week, from your childhood. Like there's just things that sometimes we just continue to kind of harbor. And this brings me into then when you feel good, your energy is good. And your energy is part of your brand, you guys, right? Feel that with yourself, feel that to your teams, and your energy will shape this. You'll feel safe. Your clients will feel safe. More and more people feel more confident, right? Everything was more enjoyable. Then you start creating like this, return on investment business where it's like a lot of referrals. If you're advertising, great, but it's like there's this other side that I'm like, referrals are still key to everyone's business. It's how we've made people feel because we feel great as well. I'm like, this is really great. I think I need to hear this. I feel like I always have to be doing something to remain productive. Valerie, I know that was me too, 100%. And I was like, this can't be like the only way just to be living, just always constantly doing. Camilla, breaking tasks down into small pieces is a proven technique to simplify our nervous system. Amen. Create a list, right? So as we're thinking about 2026, ask yourself, what are your intentions with yourself? Stop maybe just looking at just career. What are your intentions with yourself? If we're nourishing what we need, guess what's going to, trickle into our careers, right? It's not about how much you can handle. It's just how you intentionally choose to show up. Not how much you can handle. It's how we intentionally choose to show up. Thinking about your well-being, protect your peace, protect your joy, protect your health. This becomes, part of the creative freedom. This becomes the foundation to your business. It starts with you and you navigate those things, moving forward, but stop kind of always forging ahead. I think that's like a thing too, right? Business Link probably has seen this all the time too. Like we're always like, ooh, awards, recognition, all these things. And while that is awesome too, how are you actually feeling by getting these awards and recognition? Are we burnt out? Or are we actually feeling okay? Again, just getting back to some basic stuff. That's very nice, Cheyenne. Thank you. I feel like you're speaking directly to me. Good. It's got to be a little heartfelt here. So I'm going to open it up to see if anyone has any questions or if David has any other
Yeah.
prompts.
I think you were just mentioning kind of like people seem like they're sometimes on autopilot too. And kind of it sounds like from what you're describing, people need to be more intentional with a lot of these things in their
Yes.
life.
Yeah, 100%. I think you just nailed it. That's why I was like, we're not machines.
Yep.
Yeah, and autopilot, it's a slippery slope. Like if you're just like getting up and you're constantly in this pressure or this mindset and worriness and anxious, but yet you're like, I gotta show up here. I gotta do all these things. I'm like, that's not productive. Constantly doing and filling our schedules just for the sake of being busy, you guys, is not a win-win. We need to get back to a place of like, even self-care. Can I throw this? David, I've talked about this before in other webinars. Even our self-care becomes a job. Right? Like maybe rest is like not booking the schedule to be like, I have chiro massage, acupuncture, all these things to run to. Maybe it's just, you just need to sit down one day, turn it all off and just say no. If that helps.
It's kind of those personal boundaries people need to make with themselves and with their business.
1,000%. Because I felt like that too. Like even I would have like a haircut booked and I'm like, oh, this is the last thing I actually want to go do. That's a sign of like, I am not coping well. Right? Because you're just trying to squeeze in all these things because you think you need to squeeze it in. I mean, a haircut's a haircut, but we can laugh. There's got to be a little bit of humor, but the reality is you first, then your careers. But be brave. Throw a couple things in the chat here. I'd love to hear from you guys. I find that spiritual and health grounding. Me too. Yeah. Just getting back to, as I was saying before, this is great, Sharon. Listening to ourselves, that internal connection, right? Starts with us. I think that's what's happening too. We live in a place where we're constantly surrounded by so much noise, right, David? Like it's just like this constant, right? And I think it's just more about like bringing it to here. Then we can manage maybe what we want.
How do you feel about like authenticity and kind of aligning that with your purpose?
Okay, this is interesting. I felt like I just spoke about this not too long ago. I think for a while there, authenticity still was a form of sharing the hustle side, like awards, recognition. This is what I've done. And now there's been a bit of a shift where now more and more people are being open and hoping, well, they're maybe helping themselves, they're helping others. So I'm feeling like they'll like even too, like a lot of people are like, oh, you're so candid, you're so authentic. And I think you just get to a place where, you know, what was that one book? Or there's like a book called like Stop Giving All the Fucks or whatever it's called. But at the same time, but maybe we still need to care. Right? So there's this like, there's one side of authenticity where I think just voicing and having some truth without like kind of coming across as like, you should do this. Do you know what I mean? Has more of like a resignation and takes you on like a little bit of a different journey. I kind of answer that in a kind of a, did I answer that?
I think so. Awesome. Yeah, and if anyone has any additional thoughts, we've been having great engagement in the chat. So yeah, put any additional thoughts you might have there, or you can use the Q&A box as well.
This is
Uh,
great. I know Business Link will share her too. You're more than welcome to even connect with me through my website. I just have a simple form. Connect with me that way. I would love to hear further if you want to connect that way too. Not that I want to steal Business Link spotlight. Are you going to bring up that poll next too, David?
we
Because
will
that would
shortly.
be
Yeah,
great. Yeah,
yeah.
it'd be great too.
Um,
You said
what
Alana.
would yeah, just kind of, I know we're slowly wrapping up, but we have a little bit more time. So again, um,
Alana. You said
yeah,
Alana, but
Lana had a comment.
capacity is not the same thing as capability. Mm-hmm. So capacity is not the same as capability. Capability is like our skills, right? The things we do best, like boop, boop, this is who I am. But capacity is like our nervous system. We're supporting ourselves, like not overstretching ourselves. This way we can support all the talents and skills that we can offer to the world.
And
I love that.
Trina, what would kind of as we're heading into 2026 now, what's kind of that one tip or one word or one phrase you'd kind of might like to leave with everyone that
Great
you think might
question.
kind of capture the essence of your chat here?
I think it just goes back to kind of what I was chatting about before. Where are you in your schedule? Design 2026 differently. If you've been feeling, burnt out, withdrawn, feeling like your business is not where it needs to be, it's probably you that's preventing growth. So, where are you taking care of you in your schedule first? That way, it just really kind of alleviates all this like extra pressure because it's probably us, right? We do these things to ourselves. We put all these pressures on ourselves, but you're not performing for anyone else. You're performing for yourself, and it starts there first.
It all starts with you,
Yeah, all starts with
yourself.
you.
Awesome. No, thank you again so much, Trina, for